So there are two kinds of empathy. You may know this just because you know it already. You may know it and not realize you know it. But after I explain it to you now, you're going to be like, yeah, I definitely know that. So the first kind is the logical empathy, right? Like you hear a sad story on the news, or someone tells you something sad, or someone tells you a story, and in your mind, you're like, or in your words even, you're like, oh wow, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. That's sad, and it's just like a logical empathy. Like you know that like it's proper to kind of feel for the person, but you don't really like feel it like your heartstrings aren't pulled. Then there's also the emotional empathy, which is kind of when you hear a story or when someone tells you something or whatever it is, and you immediately like have a pit in your stomach, or you maybe tear up, or somehow you just feel the emotions. And that can either be because the logical empathy is there with it, and it's like you feel it right away, like there's that emotional feel, and you get it, or it's just on its own, like you feel the empathy, like you don't like you can't really put a word on it, like, or a name on it, but you feel it because it's just so powerful and it kind of pulls in your heartstrings. That applies to writing, and especially your personal statement and diversity statement as well. If you kind of relay a story, like let's take a diversity statement, for example, which is more likely to kind of pull on someone's heartstrings or cause empathy, right? If you write a story and you kind of just recount your experiences, and those experiences, they might have been they might have been sad, they might have been like, emotional, and there might be something that would induce empathy in some situations, but you just kind of recount it like this happened and this happened, and it's the writing can be great. It can be very clean, crisp writing, but at no point did you really kind of bring the reader into your headspace. And I know I'm getting back into that headspace thing again, but at no point you didn't bring the reader into your headspace like you may have, like you probably should have. And you just told them what happened. So they're going to read it and they're going to be like, yeah, I logically understand that I'm empathetic of the situation, of your experience. But they're not really feeling emotional. They're not really getting their heartstrings pulled. And they're not really feeling what you should want them to feel. Again, going back to the whole idea that people remember what they feel, right? If you're not making them feel like, something that they should be super empathetic about, then how are you kind of going to make them remember you so well? So that's kind of where this whole emotional empathy comes in, right? Like you want the person reading it to get into your headspace, see through your eyes, totally understand exactly what you're talking about, and just kind of be hit by a wave of emotion, that they understand what you went through because they're seeing it through your eyes. They're experiencing it the way you experienced it. You're bringing them back into your world, right? You're taking them back in time. The way I explained it to a client earlier today, what I said to her, when you write it in a way where the logical empathy is there, it's kind of like going forward in time. Maybe you're 50, 40, 60, whatever it is, and you're kind of sitting in your library, or you're sitting in your home office, and you're kind of just writing, thinking back on your life and reflecting and writing out that story there. And it's like, it's in the past. It's an external emotion. You kind of just write about it. Or you can kind of put yourself back in time, kind of put yourself back behind the eyes of you when you're younger, or if it's in a personal statement, whenever it was in recent time. And you then are kind of telling the story through your eyes. So the person who's reading it, they're there with you. They're there with younger you, or with you a few weeks ago, whenever it was. And they're really seeing it, and they're experiencing it the way you experienced it. They're getting into your headspace. They're feeling what you felt. And they're feeling that emotional empathy. And that's going to stick with them. So when you're writing, okay, always make sure, always keep that in mind. Keep in mind that you do want the person to be able to kind of relate to you and just feel and understand what you went through from more than just a logical point of view. That's key, and that's something to keep in mind as you keep writing. And just one final thing is that sometimes you might look over your essay and be like, okay, this is good writing. I like how it reads. I don't really see much wrong with it, but you have that little feeling. It's like something's off, right? And you just can't put a name on it. It might be this. It might be the writing's great and all, but it's missing that really personal feel. The personal feel that kind of leads to the emotional empathy there, that kind of leads to people feeling what you felt. And if you're in that position right now, think about that. Give it some thought, and maybe that's the case. Maybe it's something else. I don't want to say that this is always what the issue is going to be if something just feels off, but it's definitely something worth thinking about. Thanks for listening, and have a good evening, rest of the week, day. I'm not sure when I'm going to post this, so I'll just say have a good whatever is to come next, and good luck with the cycle. Bye-bye.